Hello Pips and welcome back to Peeping At. This week we are checking out Project Hospital, a game made by Oxymoron Games, and it's received mostly positive reviews on Steam. It also receives regular updates, and the developers do respond and take in feedback from those posting on their discussion boards and stuff like that. So they're really great at talking with the people playing their games, which is always nice. I've played this game quite a bit in the past when it was first launched, but there's been lots of updates, and I'm keen to check it out again. And I thought, why not make an episode of Peeping At? I know some of you have been asking me to play it. So let's see here. We'll check out Sandbox in a moment. It's nice that it's an option. There is the campaign mode. If we look at campaign, we can see that there are 3 tutorials, and I do recommend those tutorials. Learn the basics of diagnosing and treating patients, build a functional small clinic, and management and hospitalisation. There are 3 campaign modes. I have completed each of them. They're okay. Worth playing through, I would say. Playing through those will definitely help you expand what you've learnt in the tutorial. There is no doubt about that. I would say by the time you've got here, you pretty much know this game. But I also suspect that you would have spent a lot of time on the internet trying to learn how to do a lot of the things. The game, at least when I was playing it around launch time, wasn't very forthright in telling you how to do things. So, you know, there's that. The challenges are all exactly the same. The challenges never change. The only thing that's different is the department that you're trying to hit those targets in. I found challenge mode pretty disappointing. I did one, then I moved on to the next one, found that it was exactly the same. I thought, well, I'm not repeating this, so maybe if you have a favourite department, try the challenge mode on it. But otherwise, I just thought it was a bit lackluster, which was a bit of a shame. And then there is Sandbox, and I suppose for this particular game, this is where it gets really exciting. And as you can see here, you can start with a nice empty field of varying shapes and sizes, or you can start with hospitals. From small clinics right up to massive hospitals. And look, you even get the option to do free building and unlock all the departments and stuff like that. Patients can or cannot die, that sort of thing. So lots of options for you to play with in this game, which is always nice. And I thought that we would start at the beginning with looking at their build mode. So why don't we have a look at starting a little sandbox so you can see how the build function works. So here we are in a little map here. We've got a nice grassy area and roads and whatnot. And this is where your ambulances will arrive. So that's always worth bearing in mind where that is when you come to build your hospital. Now, we're not going to go too crazy here. I just would like to show you the functions. Now, there's 3 different modes. You know, a bit like Sims, you have build mode, buy mode, that sort of thing. Well, here we have your live mode, you have your build mode, and then you have your management mode, which I find confusing that this is separated so starkly from the other modes. It's a little bit bizarre. We'll get into that later. But for now, we're going to go into build mode. And I really like this cross that it's got. I think more games that have a build mode function should have that. I don't understand why they don't. Yeah, look. So, building the foundations, and then you can add floors. And what's this? So we have perimeter walls. We can dynamite everything, including foundations and room markers. Then we have bulldoze, walls and objects, and deleting walls. What's the difference between all those? I couldn't say. So let's see here. We're going to build a foundation. And that's where you always start. You always start by building a foundation. And then we shall look at walls. Look at all this. So we've got 2 pages here of walls to look at. And you can change the colour of them. So they don't have to be this red. Look, you can change the colour. There isn't a colour wheel. This is the options here, these 10 options, but it means that you can change make different departments different colours and all that. And we also have nice external walls. We even have glass here. That's actually an aluminium wall. That was a lie. So we could, now this is, not only does this build the walls, but this also decorates them. So if I put the brick ones here, in fact, shall we do this one here? Right. If we do that one, and again, like the Sims, that you can up the walls and collapse them. So, but this one, we're not going to want to use the brick because this will be an internal wall. So shall we, what shall we use for the internal wall? Let's use something really boring. There we go. There we go. So some basic walls, and it's these same walls for internals as well. You can build your internals however you wish. And here we've got doors and windows, furniture and equipment, and then your department, so you can mark what all the rooms are. So if we wanted to build say a small basic clinic, let's do that so we can get customers in. So what's the first thing that we would need to do? It's hard to know, and that's the problem with this game. It really is hard to know. But we do have prefabs, so we could say, okay, I'm interested in having just a small basic hospital. And this is why it's good going through the tutorial and the campaign, because then you've got a better idea of what you're looking at here. So for a clinic, look, we have pre-made rooms. You can also make your own pre-made rooms and save your prefab, so you can reuse them on any hospital that you build in the future, which makes life a lot easier. So we can see here that we've got this doctor's office as a prefab, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to build this as a prefab, and we can just drop that in like that. They also have, look, a doctor's office, but it's a bit bigger. But it's a bit crazy, isn't it? But this doctor's office looks good, and we can. This is the furthest that you can zoom in, but we can also press Shift. Is it Shift? No, Control. Look at that, you zoom right in. But it is an additional hidden thing, but it is very much there. And we can just get a better look at the doctor's clinic room. Look at it, and it's decorated differently. And we can see that the external walls are like plasterboard, and we can always come back here and say, hey, I don't like that. I want them to be this ghastly thing here, like that. Actually, it might be better than that. Looking at it, it's a little bit better. So there we go. We have a doctor's clinic. Shall we have 2 of those? That might be nice, right? I think we might have 2 of these. Oh, and you can rotate them, of course, you know, whichever way you want. And you can also change them, so you can plop it in and say, but I don't want this cabinet here, I want this over here, you know, and that sort of thing. What I've just noticed as well, so that's a great update. When I was playing it last time, you couldn't move these cabinets without moving everything off the top first, so taking the sink off, which then you can't place on another cabinet unless there's one available, otherwise you have to delete it, then move the cabinet. It was a nightmare. So instantly I've noticed that update has gone in. They've listened to the customer feedback, you know, but it is feedback, and they've made it now so that we can just pick them up and move them around. That is amazing. That is a fantastic update right there. We'll probably also need a toilet. Actually, we probably could do with making this a bit bigger, because we could do with having a toilet. So we would need foundations. So we might do this because we also are going to need probably a staff room and stuff like that. So if we do this and prefabs, restroom in this lovely green colour that we now seem to have. So there we go. Restrooms. We will build, I'll show you building a room from scratch in a moment, but let's get something basic working, and then we can break a room down, maybe make our own doctor's office, while the game's actually running and things are happening. You will need a cleaning closet. That is a huge cleaning closet. Do you know what we might do? We might make our own cleaning closet. We could possibly even make our own staff room, couldn't we? Because that's another thing, a common room. Look at that. But our hospital might come up with some demands of things that it wants quite quickly anyway. So I might pop that in, and then we can build up some walls around it like that. And we now want to remove this wall like this, and let's put in our brick walls here like this. And I just want to have a look. We're using this one, might as well keep it going. There we go. Now, as you can see, there's no way of getting into this place, so shall we stick a door. Now you can see here we've got double x-ray doors and restricted area double doors. Double doors become quite important with stretchers rushing around. But how about we get some sliding... Oh, look at them. Oh, yeah. Get some sliding doors. There we go. And you can decorate the outside as well, of course. Look, we've got flooring here. And we do have, look, grass. So we could mess with this. Although you might want to put ambulances here. But look, we could take this and have it added to the path. And then look, we've also got, look, build pillars. So you can build pillars in your hospital, which is always nice. And they can be built outside as well. So you could have a hanging over part upstairs. Look at this, an ambulance, if you want to buy an ambulance. We don't. And then lifts as well, so you can build lifts to go up between your floors if you have multiple floors, because multiple floors is a thing in this game. So we can just add a floor and it'll just build up, which is pretty awesome. Not going to lie, it's pretty cool. Yes, there's lots of things, lots of items. So we've got doors and windows. Doors and windows. Yes, we've got all these windows, and we can have some pretty big glass ones, so you could have like whole glass walls as well if you wanted. And I like as well the option with the walls. You'll notice that this bathroom, these toilet cubicles, have these legs at the bottom, because we have this wall here allows you to build toilet cubicle type walling, which I think is pretty nice as well. I really like that. If you enjoy building customization, this game is just unbelievably good. And then of course you have all of your items, the billions of items that are in this game. And what I would say is that there's pros and cons to a game looking like this. To anybody that's coming into the game quite new, if you start up a hospital and you decide to look at one of their larger ones, the game can be very difficult to read. I mean, you look at all that and it can be overwhelming to a new player. You wouldn't know where to start. Where do you start with that? And what does everything do? And does the room need all of these things? And yeah, it's a bit of a tricky business, right? It's a bit of a tricky business, but you know, we do work. I'll help you through it. But look, we even have an outdoor objects section, so we can say, hey, I'd like some flowers. There we go. You know, I'd like a young tree. Except it's hidden because we've got the wall down. But if I like the lamppost is hidden as well. It's just got electrical wires coming up. If we put it all back, you see, it is absolutely there. Look, and we can have can wall all this off. It's nice, huh? It's nice, no? I like it. And then look, you've even got roof decoration. So if we go up to the roof, you can decorate the roof as well. So we could say, hey, you know what? Yeah, look, roof tiles. Yeah, I want. Oh, that's already the roof tiles. Fine, whatever. But you could change. You could change it here, couldn't you? We've even got all this over here as well. But look, we've got in outdoors. Look, an AC roof. Look, ventilation. That can go round. Oh, wrong button. Can this not go round? Of course it can. Come on, there it is. That can go round as well, the edging of your roof. So you can do all these amazing things. We've even got a pedestrian crossing sign that we could put. Except I might be on the wrong floor. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Put that in. Yeah. So it's there's quite a lot of options here, and you can you put probably not these seats. No. I wonder, do we have any bennies to go outside? We must do. Oh, look, there, a benny. Gotta have a benny. Excellent. Yeah. So what else are we missing? Potentially, we are missing, well, stuff. But we are also missing a reception, and we haven't done the floor out here. Oh my goodness, there's so much to do. Which is why it can get a bit overwhelming if you're new to this game. And there seems to be no reception thing here, so that's interesting. We don't have a cleaning closet yet, so we'll build those ourselves. Shall we do that? We'll build those ourselves, but let's get some staff in. So we need to go to management mode. Now management mode lets us set rooms, which we'll get to in a moment. Can we do it in live mode? Not sure. So down here we've got departments, insurance companies, ambulance, ambulances. Oh, we don't have any. We don't own any of those. Budget, statistics, all down here. And this can get quite confusing, but there is a logic to it. I swear, it's just doesn't really seem like it when you're getting started. What we would like to do is see, and I've clicked on that room and it takes it back to build mode, which is a bit frustrating. What we would like to do is employ somebody. It says staff missing, can you see? And these are open during the day, because you can have day and night shifts, and so we need a doctor. So we can see here we've got doctor's office 2, right? Got 2 doctor's offices, and we're going to need staff for that. Hire new staff. So we have this on doctor. We also have here nurses, we have technologists, and we have our janitors, and you select whether you want them to be doing day or night shift. So you can pay a lot of money to get a hiring agency to find them, because you can find new candidates for a fee, and you can reveal hidden perks for 1,000. So here, this doctor here, Mary Brown, has 2 hidden perks. Now, a perk here can be a good or a bad thing. I mean, perk suggests it's a good thing, but that's not true at all. So this one here, one of their perks is that they're a hard worker, does not take free time breaks, but moves much slower. So there's that. This one here, it's a long commute, long drive from home, can often be late to work. This one here, hunger increases much faster, so they want to eat and have more snacks. So there's, there's good things and bad things. Some of them are quite dirty, filthy, don't wipe their feet and things like that. Others are very, very clean. So there's all this sort of stuff. So what we want is general medicine to be quite good here. And no, we don't, not general medicine. We want diagnostics. They want their diagnosis skills to be quite high, because they're diagnosing in here, I think, mainly. Again, can be a bit tricky to find out. What does it say up here? Doesn't really tell us, does it? Just says a doctor. I suppose trial and error will help you work it out. She's much cheaper because she's not got a lot going on, and she's 0 in everything. And you can't train. As far as I can work out, there's no training in this game at all for your staff. So they are as they come, which is a bit, So anyway, we're going to put her in that room, and you can see that she is assigned. Can you see that? Another way of doing this, I think, can we hire? No. Okay, maybe not. Let's see, who else we got here? So shall we get Thomas? Boom, there we go. So we have them. 2 doctors. Let's go back to live mode and press play. Here we go, look. Treat 1 patient. So these are like your GPs, and they diagnose and they can prescribe pills and stuff like that. So they can get to work, but we don't have a waiting room. And you can see here we've got an alert: missing rooms required to make this work. And we can see here the big 0 is the waiting room. So that's fine. We want to make a waiting room. So we're going to click on this, and then we can assign where we want the waiting room to be. So we would like our waiting room, I think, to be this section here. Oh my God, this hospital now accepts patients. The hospital now has enough staff to accept first patients. First insurance companies are automatically contracted. Okay, thank you very much. So we want this to be our waiting area, and what we'll do is and the game pauses, and this is a thing for me, is that no matter what you want to do in your hospital, the game is paused automatically. You have to come out of a play mode to do anything, to hire staff, to change staff around, to move a room or assign a room differently. It doesn't matter what you want to do, anything. You have to come out of gameplay mode and go into pause mode, and that bothers me. It bothers me, guys. It bothers me. Anyway, so we want a waiting area. So if we click on the room, we get these. It says these items are best for the waiting room. So it's up to you. You can come in here and add extra bits and bobs, but if you're lost on what to put in a room, whatever the room is, if you click on the designated area, it will say these items. Now, I believe the ones in yellow here are required. You have to have them. And these are just some nice optionals. And this comes very useful when you're building some pretty complicated rooms. Very, very useful indeed. So we're going to put some bennies, and look, we can change the colour of them as well, which is always nice. So we will put those in. As soon as you've placed one, it's happy that you've satisfied that requirement. And we haven't built a reception desk here, because that is an option. We could build a reception desk here and then employ somebody to work at that reception desk. But it's recommending to us that we actually use an automatic queuing machine. The reception desk tends to be used for departments. Now, the blue means that you've used an item, and you can see it's blue here, that absolutely must be used in conjunction with another item, and it's this one here. So you have to make sure that if something comes up blue, it's saying, okay, but you have to use this other item. They work in tandem. And you can see that they were lit up in blue because they go together. So you can place them separately wherever you want. You could put a pillar and put the TV on there and stuff like that. But yeah, it's quite good at telling you, you know, what you must have. And then you can just put in little extra things to your liking. So put a little coffee table. We could put we can put a clock up there. We could put a little flower. Look, we can even change the colour of the flower. Oops. There we go. You know, a little pot plant on the floor. It doesn't even have to be in the... You can put it wherever you like. Do you know what we haven't done? And that is the floor. So what should we have? So we've got... Do we have carpets and things? This looks like it's a light lino flooring. It's not the best. I'm not sure I want a lino flooring. But there we are. Yeah, so anything you want to do, you have to pause the game, which is a bit of a shame. Doesn't matter what you're doing. There we are. So we now have a waiting area that functions like a waiting area, which means that our hospital can now function. And we can see here that we've got this department is lit up. Our emergency department, bearing in mind we only have the very basics here. So there are additional things that we can put in, and we don't have hospitalisation available in an emergency. So it's just a small clinic. Oh yeah, and you can also assign a chief doctor. Chief doctor adds daily bonus to the staff on respective departments. Choose wisely. So, you know, we might just stick her. So now whatever her perk was, so she has a long drive from work, so she can often be late to work. Improve satisfaction of supervised colleagues every morning. Oh, there you go. We got lucky. So yeah, she'll be quite good. And in other departments later we get into all of this. We'll cover this in a bit. But wouldn't it be nice to actually see this function? And we don't have a janitor, so this will slowly get filthy over time. Look, they've gone for their break. It'll slowly get filthy over time, and then we can build like ourselves a little janitor closet. So, but how about we get our first patient? Who is this? This is Daniel Robinson. What is wrong with Daniel Robinson? So it looks like that Mary here, and it does save so many on the tab. So Mary here is coming back to work. He has 7 hidden symptoms. Now you can play doctor, and we'll get into that a little bit later. For now, we're just going to do an overall managerial thing on our hospital. And we'll see them, how they deal with a patient. And then later on we can play a bit of doctor. This is going to be a longer peeping at than normal, just because there's quite a lot in this game. And I'd like to just give this game a little bit of extra time. So they're doing the interview. She's found out that he has sleeping problems. So these are all the examinations available to her. She wants to do an abdominal palpitation. The interview also showed fatigue. So she now wants to do abdominal palpitations. So she's just going to feel around. And you can look up to see what these examinations are and why you might do them. There we go. She got a bit of experience. So she wants to do some neurological testing. So she's going to do a physical examination. She's not found any more symptoms yet, so she's still trying to work out exactly what is wrong with him. And these ones in green are the tests that are available within our clinic. These ones are tests that might be good to help identify what's wrong with him, but we don't have access to them in our hospital. So, look, with that physical examination and more talking, we found confusion, anxiety, depression, long reaction time. So she is saying, hey, you need to get some rest. I'm prescribing rest and sleeping drugs. So she's now giving him a prescription to get some of these sleeping drugs. Yeah, get some rest, Daniel. There we go. Insurance company can be contracted. Excellent. So there we go. And that's him dealt with. And he's off home. And he's all happy. And we earned some money. Isn't that great? So there we go. We sorted out our first patient. Yes, we did. Shall we build a janitor's closet? And then we'll look at something different. So how might you go about building a room? It's very similar to how we did the waiting room. So management mode. No, not management mode. Build mode. We want... I think it is this room, isn't it? I don't know. Yes. It's part of emergency. We would like to build a cleaning closet as part of this emergency department. This is a department here, so we're going to build a cleaning closet. So we click on that, and now we can assign a cleaning closet. We're going to build it there. Now, we don't have to put walls up, but I'm gonna. So what walls were we using? We were using this one, weren't we? So let's put a wall across here so that it's a separate room. And then I think we'll put a tile in the janitor's closet. And I think we'll also put a tile on the floor. It needs a door. We currently don't have one. I think just a plain white door will be sufficient. And then shall we just put a window like this in here? And look, these rooms don't have windows. That's fairly unpleasant, isn't it? Shall we put some windows there? There we go. There's some windows. Now, what can we put? What has to go in a janitor's closet? Well, it's saying here that the only thing we must put in is the shelf. So if we put in a shelf, and I think it's with one shelf you can assign one janitor. If I put in 2, I can assign 2 janitors. Now, it doesn't say you need the bucket cart thing, but if you put them in, they do use them. And then look, we've got sinks, so we could put in, and this is just, as far as I'm aware, just for decoration. Now, they will use them when they're in there, but you don't need it in order for this department to function. Don't need it. So we would like to now, so yeah, because I put 2 shelves, I'm able to have 2 janitors, although I think 1 janitor will be perfectly fine. So efficiency says efficiency affects how well janitors plan when cleaning different rooms. So the better they are at efficiency, I think the cleaner the room is. And then dexterity is the speed at which they clean. So we want high percentages, of course, as always with this sort of thing. So she's very fast, but doesn't necessarily clean as well as this guy, who's also pretty quick. What's this say here? He is fast, and he's a fast mover to boot. He does have a hidden perk, and God knows what that could be, but we could pay 1,000 doubloons and find it out. There we go. He's also a fast learner. He's brilliant. So what we'll do is we'll employ him. I should. There we go. If we wanted him to clean at night time, we would have hit night and then employed them. You can see that these spots open again because we've got nobody working the nighttime shift. We've only got one person working the daytime shift. So that's how you would do that one. And then we can just now, hang on a minute. You see there's no corridors assigned here. So at the moment he'll clean these rooms, but he won't clean the corridors, and people will walk around them and these corridors will get dirty. So what you need to do is, again, in emergency, you have to pick the right department. You can pick the corridor option and say, okay, this is the corridor, and then he will actually clean this area as well. So that means that he'll now clean it all. not just specific areas. And that's pretty important to do, because they start leaving dirty trails everywhere, and it can be upsetting if you can't work out why they're not cleaning. It's all very obvious when somebody tells you, but when you don't know this stuff, it can be really hard to work this out. And you find yourself on the Steam discussion boards a lot, and on Reddit and all the rest of it. So yes, there we are. So we've actually made ourselves a little basic functioning clinic, and from there you'll start getting patients coming in that need more and more things, and you can slowly earn money and build on this until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But yeah, that's where we're going to leave this. That is building and basic hiring in Project Hospital. And as you can see, the customization is truly fantastic. I love the free build of this game a great deal. And I actually quite like the art style. I don't think it's for everyone, but I do quite like the art style a great deal. And I love the music. Especially the main theme of this game. The main theme is really good music. Love it. Okay, let's jump into something a little bit more crazy. So here we are at one of my hospitals. Well, it was a pre-built hospital, but I took it over and I've made lots of adjustments and changes to it. It's still not perfect, and I'm still missing 2 departments, but I've put a lot of time and effort into this hospital, trying to make it function. And I thought that we could see each department function as best we can in the rest of this episode, actually get to see things happening. Although the departments are very similar to each other. Once you get to understand how the game works, it is all very samey between the departments, and there is a dependency tree as well with departments. We have this here, and it's always worth getting to know and understand this quite early on in the game. But effectively, you've got 2 different types of clinics. We've got an emergency one that takes in ambulances, and then we have a very a normal clinic that has extra diagnostic options, but they both take walk-ins. Then there's also an ICU that both of these hospitalisation or wards. Hospitalisation is a ward, effectively. Depends on, and then of course for further diagnostics you have your radiology department, which both these clinics are quite dependent on. These other departments are not dependent within each other. They just offer additional testing and treatment for patients coming in through the door. And you'll find as your hospitals grow, you'll start getting like, we've had to send this patient away because we can't do that, and then you can save up money and make it so. But the departments are all pretty much built the same. We can see here that this is the clinic is a waiting room, a doctor's office, a restroom, a corridor, common room, cleaning closet, and a stats lab. Radiology is a waiting room, effectively a doctor's room. You've got your different scanning rooms, but a restroom, a corridor, a cleaning closet, a common room. They're pretty much all the same. A waiting room, a doctor's office, a restroom, a corridor. Once you've built one department, they are all pretty much the same. It doesn't matter which department you're in, doctor's office, waiting room, restroom, corridor, cleaning closet, common room, they're all pretty much the same. And it's the same with their hospitalisation. And hospitalisation is an extension of that department. It just means we've built a ward to go with this department, so we don't have to send them home sick. We can put them in the ward. And again, these are very, very similar. This is the nurses' stations that look after the people that are in the ward, the doctors that run the tests on the people that are on the ward, and it doesn't matter which hospitalisation you go to. Yes, the testing rooms might be different. That's trauma, to be honest, that one. So yeah, the rooms where the diagnosing happens might be different, but they're all set up exactly the same way. There's no variety there. They are all exactly the same. But I thought what we might do is start with an emergency. What happens when somebody comes in all sick and poorly? So one of my ambulances rushed off for an emergency not too long ago. So hopefully it will be here soon. Here it comes. Here it is. And so I have doctors and nurses. Yeah, it isn't perfect. There's a long waiting time. Somebody needs an MRI. I'm sorry. So here they come. Look at this. So they rushed in, and sorry. And I have doctors. Oh, there's blood on the floor. I have doctors posted down here, and nurses, as you can see. So, shall we pause this a minute? So we can see here that Lisa Martin has come in, and she has fracture of the humerus. Oh god, another fracture. These pictures are horrific. Look at them. Really, really awful. She's got 2 hidden symptoms. So an arm injury, you don't say. Open wound, she's hemorrhaging. Severe arm pain. Artery damage, so that's fast blood loss. And you see these palpitating ones. This is, as you can see, it says high. These have to be dealt with quickly, or she will die. Exposed bone. Ugh. And she has dizziness. Eels. So we could take over and doctor her, but this one seems pretty bad. So we might just watch to see how this goes on. Oh look, she's a gamer. Oh no. She's a germaphobe too. Oh no. She washes her hands twice. So at the moment, the active treatment was getting her to the trauma centre. They've done that. And it seems here that the doctor is going to do some emergency care, which is a procedure to make sure that the patient is stabilised by taking care of any potential wounds, lacerations, injuries or traumas, and to stop any active bleeding, which we absolutely have here, hemorrhaging and damaged arteries. And then she's also got some medicines here. I can't read all the drug names, but we can see that's probably got something to do with being an anti-hemorrhage drug, by the looks of it. Anti-hemorrhagics. Drugs used to stop bleeding. There we go. So let's unpause again. Shall we? Can we? We can't. I'm sorry to say that we can't actually turn the screen. And she's hidden. The doctor's hidden behind this window. And I'm sorry about that. I can't change that. This is the screen that we're at, but we can press control and get nice and close. But I think this is probably, this one looks a little bit weird. I think this is all right. Here we go. So she can't really do much until the nurse. We need an attending nurse. There we go. So they're now working. Now the thing is that we have to assign these doctors and nurses. So I've put this doctor down here at these desks to say only work trauma, and this nurse does patient care, but she also works on the ward upstairs. So it took her a long time to get here, because this nurse here that is specifically seated here to deal with traumas wasn't there. Did you notice? She might have been on break or something. So we waited ages for this nurse to turn up, and there's an inefficiency in my hospital, so maybe a second one might be a good idea. So we've done emergency care. She's now administering these drugs, which she got from this cabinet here, and she's washing her hands. She's administering the drugs now. What are you doing? Yeah, she's doing the drugs now. So we can see here that these now have been suppressed. Well, the open wound and the artery damage has been suppressed, and they are being nullified. They're slowly fading to black. And so is this hemorrhaging that's now going as well. So she has now become stabilised. We don't have any pulsating symptoms here. So she's now in no immediate risk of dying. Isn't that great? Isn't that... Well done, Lisa. Well done. And we'll keep Lisa here on our tab so we can keep an eye on her. But we can see that she needs to go to this department. So she's had a physical examination by the looks of it, and they want to x-ray her upper limb. They want to x-ray her arms. So she should now be taken... There's a way of following them. There is a way of following them. I've forgotten what it is. It's been a while. Oh, there it is. Enable camera to follow this character. Yeah, there we go. So they are now going to wheel her away, and she's being wheeled by Jessica Wilson, who has patient transfers switched on, which means that they can use these trolleys. This is another nice thing about build feature, which we didn't cover earlier, is that you get in build, you get all these lovely stickers, and you can change the colours of them and the direction, and you can put them on the walls. And you've got all these different options, so you can say, hey, this department's that way, and that was a white one. got the toilets. There's this stat labs is this way, and all this sort of stuff. Isn't that great? You could even number the rooms. This is GP5 and all that sort of stuff. Great, huh? I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's pretty awesome. Right, so Lisa is now being taken to the yeah. So they're now in the lift. In no major rush now because, let's say, she's in oh, they're going through the... That's an interesting path she's taken there. Through the doctor's lounge. Nice. Through the doctor's lounge. So, this is actually radiology. We're in the radiology department. Now, these machines can be very complicated to make. Because earlier on we saw that there was 2 blue items together. Now, not only do we get these blue items needing to be together, they also have to be placed in exactly the right way in order to make them function correctly. And that can be a very tricky business. I don't know if they've changed it in any recent updates, but I remember when I was playing it, that became a bit of a headache, I can tell you. But once you've worked it out, it's all good. But yeah, it can be a tricky old business. But worth the perseverance, I would say. So they are now this here. So Paul Johnson we have here. He's currently performing an X-ray on Lisa Martin's upper limb. So he could work in a stat lab quite well, but he also has radiology training. So we've obviously employed him for radiology. He can hospitalise patients and also does clinic patients. So he'll deal with anything. So that's great. But at the moment he's just dealing with Lisa Martin, and we can see that Lisa Martin has also been given a doctor who attends over her, and at the moment the nighttime one is Dana. And now I don't know where Paul Johnson's gone, maybe on break, he's filling his free time. Yep, he's gone to go to the toilet and he's just left her there on the table to fend for herself. But we can see that there is a final diagnosis. There was one of 2 things that it could have been, the possible diagnosis, but they now absolutely know that there's a fracture of the humerus. So she's now been put onto the trolley, a trolley stretcher, by Nancy Rodriguez. It's another one of our patient transfer nurses. Her supervisor is Casey Smith. So we're actually seeing a number of departments like this. So we've seen emergencies coming in, which is part of ER in one of the walk-in clinics. Then she's been to radiology and had an X-ray. And now she's being transferred to... it looks like we're going back to trauma for some reason. That's interesting. So maybe they're going to hospitalise her in the emergency, which is actually the ward upstairs. But she has brought her back to trauma, which is a little bit strange. But still, the doctor is here waiting for her. I do think it's strange that they've come to trauma, though, don't you? I think it's very bizarre. So what are you doing now, eh? What's happening here? Trauma stabilisation. Oh, she needs stabilising. Okay. Right, so now she's going to be hospitalised. Oh, at the trauma centre. Okay. No. HDU. High Dependency Unit. She is going to, I believe, the intensive care unit. Is that where she's going? It can be. Right, what am I trying to do here? The dependency tree. Because that says ICU, not HDU. High Dependency Unit. Interesting. I shall keep an eye on her and find out. Oh no, look. She has been assigned to this department. So she'll be going to the hospitalisation. She'll be coming to this department here. Fantastic. So daytime shift is here. Oh, there's another. I've got some emergency patients coming in. So here we are. the clinic is now open. So the walk-in patients that will come into this emergency one, and then we've got this clinic over here, the general surgery. Was it general surgery? General surgery. Oh, they're not here. Where's general surgery? Is it upstairs? I thought it was upstairs, general surgery. Oh, it is. It's up quite a few floors because this is also a walk-in department as well. So there we go. Patient is collapsing. Do your best to keep them alive. Hang on. Oh my god, he's actually collapsed inside the doctor's office, everybody. He's collapsed into Michael Williams. He's dehydrated. So, one of our nurses is administering first aid right now. Is that a nurse or a doctor? I think it's actually a doctor, isn't it? Oh, look at this. Spends twice as much time enjoying food. Hedonist. There we go. So he's really hydrated. He's got 8 hidden symptoms. He just collapsed inside the doctor's office, and sometimes they do just collapse in reception. Look at all the people waiting in reception. Sometimes they do just crash in the waiting room and all this sort of stuff. It does go on. It does go on. So here we have a gentleman that, if we just pause a moment, yes, came in the walk-in clinic, and they said, hey, do you know what? We would like you to have a fungal cultivation done in the tech lab. And they've run that test, and he's now giving him, oh, look, patient got worse because of a wrong diagnosis. Oh, he's not. Is that him there? Tuberculosis. Okay. Okay. He got the wrong diagnosis. He has a hidden symptom that we really need to look. They're going to do further testing on him by the looks of it. He'll be fine. Yeah, so... And she's done a test as well, it would seem. Oh dear, there's another one. They come back the following day if they have a diagnosis issue. So here we've got another patient who was having the same examination test ran, actually. That's interesting. And they give it to them, and now they wait to go back in. Now they've got the results of their test, they wait to go back in and see the doctor to discuss the results of their tests. Indeed they do. Yeah, and all these machines do different things. If we were to go into build mode and click on stat labs, we can see, look, we've got a stool analyzer, a lab analyzer, multi-purpose lab equipment used to analyze various biological substances and samples. And what you'll notice, if you're not quite sure, because some of these are really expensive, it always does tell you. So if a doctor wanted to do something here, but some sort of test, and we didn't have the equipment, you could look at it and sort of say, well, why don't I have that equipment? And what do I need to put in my lab to get it working? And it would tell you. It does absolutely tell you. So what other departments should we check? So we haven't really done... I closed that, and we didn't want to close that because, look, we could probably go back to Lisa, who's now on a completely different department. Oh, look, she's having surgery. Everybody, look. She's having surgery. She looks wide awake. That's terrifying. Surgery is very difficult to get running off the ground, I found, when I was new to this, because you have to have loads of staff, as you can see, 5 different members of staff. They all have to be available at the same time, and they all are performing different tasks. So he does patient care and patient transfers. This looks like the actual surgeon. He's assisting at surgery. This person is a nurse that also does surgery, and she has to have this specialisation to do it. Look, and they work in surgery, and then we also have an anaesthetist as well, who I don't think is doing a terribly great job. So yeah, oh my god, did you see that drill sign come up? So she is now having surgery, apparently on her chest, but we know where the problem is. It's her arm. But there we are. So Lisa's been going through the mill of it, isn't she? So they've been putting her on various drugs, and they've bandaged her up and all this sort of business. So it looks like now her surgery is done. How's it going, Lisa? You've been treated. Fantastic. So I think she'll go back to... See, look, hang on. She's got dizziness. Some of these drugs might deal with pain relief. That one. I feel like muscle and skin damage. Oh my goodness. If we control by the doctor... If I control... Oh, no, I can't. We don't need to favourite. I was just thinking that we might be able to give her a drug for her dizziness, but you can't. And this is the thing, right? With if you want to play Doctor, while you can do that, I found it to be pretty lacking. So I really enjoy playing Doctor, right? I absolutely love it when there's patients here and I want to play Doctor. It can be a lot of fun. So let's do that actually. Okay, so I've decided that we will be we'll do something in general surgery today. So we've got a walk-in. This guy's come in and we would like to do the doctoring. Okay, so he is going to go in and talk to somebody about how he feels. So at the moment we've got vomiting, lovely. Should we abdominal pain, excessive belching and nausea. And he could have one of these. I mean, ulcer, well, though, would that cause vomiting? I suppose an ulcer could cause vomiting. Anyway, you don't need to know anything about medicine, and I suppose that's possibly a slight bugbear. You could learn stuff about medicine, but it already tells you, it sort of guides you constantly throughout the process. You don't need to know anything. So here we go. He's having his interview. That's a standard. We do that. And so here we are. We've not learned anything new. So we've got abdominal pain. So maybe we should do some an abdominal examination. So we'll do that. And see if, because what the best thing to do is to try and find what all these hidden symptoms are. So let's do the examination, see if we get any more results. So we found one, which is the bloating. Now the thing about the available examinations is that they are all relevant to his condition, all of them. It doesn't show you all the examinations available that you could possibly do in the game, and then you have to pick ones that are relevant for his illness. These are the ones relative to his illness, so it doesn't matter which one you pick. They will just do them, and they probably will help find something wrong with him. And I suppose that's the thing that I don't like. And it's the same when it comes to treatments. How do you want to treat this? Well, you end up using every item on the treatment list. It doesn't say, here's all the treatments available regardless of what he has. Here's all the treatments available in the entire hospital. What would you like to do to treat this patient? And then you have to learn and work it out and get better at it, you know, and that bothers me. It could be a much nicer addition to the game of you playing Doctor if perhaps you didn't know how many hidden symptoms there are, and you have to decide when you are happy with the final diagnosis and pick it from a whole variety of things, rather than it guiding you all the time to something very specific without you really needing to know anything. I think it could be a nice addition to make the game more challenging and more difficult, which I think in itself could help to longevity of gameplay as well. So why don't we do some of these tests? These are where they go to the stat lab and run some tests, and I would love to show you actually running some tests in the stat lab. It's always nice. I like the sounds of this game. I do enjoy it. So we would like you to go to the toilet and have a poop, please. Charles Taylor, can you go to the toilet and have a poop for us? That would be marvellous. So here he is. He's at the toilet. He truly is going to the toilet to collect his stool sample. Charming, isn't it? Well done, Charles. You have that poops. We'll have the poops. They go, wow, record time. There, he's got it. He's got his poop. Oh, look, the gentleman is like, God, it smells like poop in here. So now he needs to take his stool sample back, and it'll get analysed. And I'm pretty sure that same doctor will also draw some blood as well. I mean, the chances are is that we don't need to run this. The doctor's 100% sure that it is an ulcer. To be honest, I'm pretty sure it is as well. But, and we could just assign this as the final diagnosis. I can click on there and make it the final diagnosis. But I'd like to know what these two symptoms are. And if we could find them, I'd like to do that. So the doctor is now going to come and draw his blood. Looks like she's doing something else. It's a bit long, yeah. Okay, so what he now does is he takes his stool sample and his blood sample to the tech lab. And he's going to be taking it to the tech lab that's actually in general surgery, which is here. This is my general surgery tech lab. There it is. I keep it all local so he doesn't have to walk too far. So he now takes these two to be sampled, analysed, over here, a restricted area. Oh no. So we have, let's get rid of these two. So we have this tech lab dude here, and we have Rachel, Thomas and Rachel. So she is currently running tests. Oh look, we've got another one. Because they also run tests for the ward as well. So this can get very, very busy day and night, really, this department. And if you don't have enough people doing things, and we can see that they're running it for that patient, whoever that patient is. Whereas we've got Charles down here. Yeah, so they are running tests in here. They're all quite busy. So while they're running all these tests, he has to sit around and wait. Is that him there? No. He has to just sit around and wait. Yeah, so there he is. Oh, did you take them to this lab? Oh, we've got two labs. Oh, look, he's at this lab. God damn it. He's at this lab. They're running his tests here, look. There we go. I have a couple of labs because you could see that other lab was pretty busy. I think I have a lab that does hospitalised patients and a lab that works on clinic patients. Now, I would have thought that this would be the lab for the hospital one, and yet here he is. It's very weird. They are, look, hospitalised patients. Yeah. It seems like I've got them the wrong way around. I might want to change that. So this lab is running all the tests coming in from these wards, and this lab is running all the tests coming in from these doctors' offices. I should really swap them around. That's mental. That's mental. But there we are. So they are running his tests. And then they will, once they're done, they will come to this door. And they'll say, hey, we've got your test results. Come and get them. What's Lisa doing? Should we go and check on Lisa? There she is, look. She's in a ward. She's in a ward. Just recovering from her operation, basically. That's all that she's doing. And once she's recovered, they'll let her go. She'll be fine. She'll be fine, everybody. She's totes fine. He's still running his stool sample. He's just on his mobile phone. He's quite bored of waiting. Look, he's doing the blood. She's doing the stools. Poops. Going to stat lab. So his results are ready. She's going to hand them to him. So she'll stand at this door. He'll go and get them. Yes, it's you now. Get your results. There you go. Excellent. Lab produced, uncovered a new symptom of a favourite patient. There we go. So we have now unlocked all of his... Oh, anemia. He had anemia, everybody. And it is absolutely gastric ulcers that have been identified. So we can now, safe in the knowledge, know that we have absolutely got the right diagnosis. So so we have to decide on treatment. Now, I'm pretty sure it is just pills. Oh, a proton pump inhibitors. So it's this here. So that's what I mean. It just tells you, look, he needs a proton pump inhibitor, which is this one here. I'd like to stop the nausea and vomiting. And the redder the symbol is, the more he's suffering from it. And it's quite red. That's an unpleasant symptom to be having, right? So we're going to give him pills to just get rid of this. It'll also get rid of the nausea. Yeah, so you can see here, if we want to deal with all of his symptoms, so the bloating is dietary modification. You'll find that you'll progressively go through all the options down here except possibly hospitalisation. So if we want to get rid of the anemia, we need the vitamin supplements. You know, if we want to deal with this, we assign those. If we want to deal with this, we assign those. And then before you know it, you've done all the active treatments. Yes, we could hospitalise him, but what's the point? So yeah, and I think that's a bit of a shame with the doctor feature in this game. It's just like, well, all of those. You don't actually need to read any of this or understand anything. And considering it's supposed to be an extra thing of the game, something that they advertise quite heavily, it's a little bit lackluster. And pretty much we've seen the entire game as well, by the way. So I know that it looks very complicated and stuff like that, but when you get into the nitty-gritty of this, it's not as complicated as it looks. It's difficult to read because it looks very confusing and overwhelming, but it's not. It really isn't. The biggest challenge of this game is the UI and learning how to do things, and you will find yourself probably on Reddit a lot and Steam, discussion boards an awful lot. But, do you know, I do really like this game, and I'm hoping that they might make playing Doctor much more challenging down the line. I would love that. It's one of my... It's the thing that makes this hospital game stand out from the others, right? You know, playing Doctor. I love it. But I just want it to actually feel like I have to know stuff to look after my patients. And at the moment, I don't feel that way. And like I say, all the departments are the same. They are all the same. I mean, intensive care unit. This is the intensive care unit. It looks like the trauma centre. I mean, they've built it slightly differently, but it needs all the same equipment. Okay? It just looks like the trauma centre downstairs where the emergency things arrive. And again, you just need nurses and doctors to assist all of these. Intensive care unit, we can see that we have the desks for the nurses and the doctors to look after this unit. We have the operation departments here, and these operating theatres change depending on which department you have. So it's part of hospitalisation, operating theatre. There you go. And you can see we have another operating theatre here, but it's to a different department. So if we wanted to find that department, there it is. It's internal medicine. And then we've got two more here as well, look. And that's for the orthopedy department here. So we've kept all the surgeries together. And that may not necessarily be the best move. It's just how the hospital came. And it's a bit of a nightmare to decide, you know what, I want to move all of this somewhere else. But you can copy rooms. Okay, so if you wanted to do that, it's a really nice feature, is that we could, in build mode, I think, is it this one here? No. I'm pretty sure you can, maybe it's prefabs. Copy, yeah. So we could say, hey, copy that entire room. We talked about this earlier, didn't we? And then paste it somewhere. Let's go there. How easy is that? And then you can save it and name it something. Isn't that great? So that's again a fantastic feature that this game's got, particularly when you've got all this stuff, right? Yeah. What other departments have we seen? I mean, these are different wards, but they're all effectively the same room. Most departments have these rooms here, which is for examinations of patients that are on the ward. You'll see these rooms repeated everywhere. We've got them. There's one here. And if we go up here, if we go down, we've got doctors' offices here, stat labs. You do start to read the game quite well. We've got doctors and nurses. There's probably some wards here. Yeah. So, lots of wards everywhere. More wards down here, and the examination rooms for the people in those wards, doctors and nurses, the janitor's closet, common room, your GP type rooms, your stat lab. It's all, every department actually starts looking exactly the same. Overall, I enjoy Project Hospital, and I felt that it deserved a little extra time. So it's been a long episode of Peeping Out, but I just felt that this game was worth it. Yes, there are things I don't like about it, but I enjoy more about it than I don't. And the things that I don't like can be fixed with updates and changes and tweaks that they can make over time, and they do seem to be listening to player feedback and taking all that stuff on board. So, these things will only get better with time. Check it out, everybody. Project Hospital. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, please hit that like button. As long as you are here, why not take your first step on the path to total coolness by supporting me via Patreon. The cooler you are, the harder I work, which means even more shizwa.